So I'm reading the story on Big Meech, and it's called BMF, The Rise and Fall of Big Meech and the Black Mafia Family. And it's a pretty interesting story. I mean, it takes you from his humble beginnings to his rise as a drug kingpin in the early turn of the century. And I was just sitting here thinking, and I was thinking about a few things. One is, you know, it's very easy for people in the hood, you know, ghetto types who come from poverty, to get caught up in the drug selling game, because the money, if you have the personality and you have the know-how, you have the business know-how, you can make a lot of money in the drug game very easily. And so when the government allows these drugs to be brought over here, they're just setting you up, and you don't even realize it. They're setting you up for modern day slavery. See, and people don't think about shit. They don't think that deep. But let's think about this for a second. Slavery is now illegal. So what better way to make money off of free labor than to set niggas up to take a fall and end up in prison? So think about this for a second. You have drugs coming over here into the United States. You have people hungry to make money and to attain wealth by any means necessary. And so it's sort of like waving the carrot in front of their face and saying, here, you know, you can nibble on it and nibble on it and nibble on it until I'm ready to take it away. And that's what happens here. It's like they're busy selling dope. They're getting the dope because the government's allowing it to come in. They're desperate to have money and not go to bed hungry. So they start selling the shit. And then there's a law that says, if you sell it, here's how much time we're going to give you. And not only that, we're going to pimp you for the money that you made. So you make $20 million and you got it stashed in your fucking stash house along with the coke. Guess what? We're going to take the coke and redistribute it to some more dumbass dope dealers. And we're going to take your money and put it in the Treasury, in the United States Treasury. If you think I'm lying, call the US Treasury and ask, what happens to the money, the cash, once the DEA confiscates it from a drug bust? What happens to the money, the cash, when all the assets from the drug dealer is liquidated? Ask them. And they'll tell you. When the funds, when the assets are liquidated, when the cash is confiscated, it all goes into the US Treasury. So you have been pimped. You have been pimped and you have been fucked. You have been used. You have been used to deal drugs for the United States of America, to put money into their fund. And guess what? On top of that, your black ass is going to jail. And you going to jail for a long time. And when you get to jail, they're going to make more money off of you. Because the more bodies that they have in jail, the more money they get. Yeah, you got to live real fine for a few years. You know, you got to live real fine. Buy all the nicest clothes, ride all the hottest whips, get all the finest bitches. Yeah, you get to do that for about a good maybe 3 to 5 years because they want to build a case against you. So yeah, you can ride, you know, real good for about 3 to 5 years. Sometimes even longer. But eventually, they're going to get you. Eventually, they're going to get you. And your dumbass is sitting in prison while they living off the millions that you've made. And not only that, but you've left now a whole community, neighborhoods, in turmoil. Because you sold somebody's mother some dope. And she can't kick her habit. So instead of her feeding her children with the money that she does get, she goes and feeds her habit. And her kids starve. People don't think about this shit. They don't even, it doesn't go that deep with them. And it's not because, you know, some of them aren't intelligent. It's just that because when you're thinking about making money and you're thirsty for fame or for wealth, you don't even think that deeply about the ramifications of your actions. You aren't even thinking about it. The only thing you're thinking about is if I sell this key, I'm going to be able to flip it and buy this Bugatti. I'm going to be able to flip it and buy this house. This big ass multi-million-dollar house with a big old pool in the back. We can have all the hoes come over. You know, it's going to be parties every night, nigga. That kind of thing. I mean, that's usually where the head goes. You aren't thinking, at least some of you aren't thinking, that this goes deeper. You know, if I get caught, I'm going to prison. When I get caught, all my money is not going back to the community that I just destroyed. It's not going to build, you know, houses for families that are now homeless. It's not going to build schools where children aren't being educated anymore because there's no parents in the house now. Daddy's on crack, mama's on crack, you know. Grandma might be around, hopefully. But you got a lot of kids who aren't being raised properly because there's nobody in the house to raise them. But nobody thinks about that because they're too busy with the bling. You fucking spending money at Jacob the jeweler's, and meanwhile, Jacob's wife doesn't even want a bunch of niggas in the store because the bitch gets nervous. So you giving this Jew hundreds of thousands of dollars for one piece of jewelry, and by the way, you being overcharged for that shit. And meanwhile, the Jew don't even want you in there. You got to meet him somewhere else. Because it makes his wife uncomfortable to be around a bunch of niggas at one time. Meanwhile, you spending hundreds of thousands of dollars with these motherfuckers. And you don't even see what's going on. Anybody that I'm not welcome, me and my crew, we aren't welcome into your place of business. We're not talking about these people going to Jacob's home. We're talking about these people going into a jewelry store. And this bitch is complaining because even though they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep her Jew ass in luxury, she don't want a bunch of niggas in her shop. And you still spending money with these motherfuckers? You can't tell me that these niggas aren't crazy. You can't tell me, because I'm telling you right now, if I'm dropping that kind of dough on any business, and me and my family aren't allowed in there all at once, fuck it. I'm not spending any money anymore at that business, period. So I'm just looking at, as I'm reading this book, and I'm only on page 85 right now. But as I'm reading this book, I'm just like, wow. It just really makes me think about a lot of things. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know how it is to be desperate to make money. And I know what it's like to go to bed hungry. I do. I'm not saying that the things that they've done hasn't crossed my mind. That's not what I'm saying at all. But in the end, I never did it. And when you think about the consequences, and that's what always got me, it was the consequences, when you think about the consequences of your actions, it should be enough to stop you. It should be enough to stop you. And these niggas made so much money. I mean, had they invested it properly and had they stopped, they may have avoided jail altogether. I mean, these are people that have avoided getting murder raps. And they get busted on dope. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? You can kill two niggas. You can kill as many niggas as you want. Just don't smuggle dope. Don't sell dope. Don't smuggle it. Don't sell it. Don't make money off of it. Because we're going to get you. But you can kill as many niggas as you want. And somehow, some way, we won't be able to have enough evidence to convict you and put you in jail for life because you killed another nigga. But we can for sure put you in life because you sold some dope. I mean, for all the niggas out there that's listening to this, and I say niggas because black people don't sell dope. So for all the niggas out here listening to this, all I'm saying is, if you've put yourself in a position to where you got stacks, where you can walk away from this shit before you get busted and go to serve time in a prison and be a slave, a modern day fucking slave, put the shit down and keep it moving. Find something else to do. You obviously have skills. You have sales skills. You have social skills. You have business skills. You can run a legitimate business. And by the way, these guys, Meech and his brother, they had legitimate businesses. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Always wanted more. And greed will always get you killed. It will always get you killed or taken down. Never fails. Never fails. And I just hope that you brothers out there start thinking about things like this. That if you aren't starving anymore, and you aren't, you've put yourself in a position to where you can now go and invest in a legitimate business, get out of the game and stay out. Get out of it and stay out. And for those of you who are thinking about getting in the game, I hope that you are also thinking about what I've said in this video. And that is, you are just a puppet. You are just being used by the government to make them money. You are being pimped. Straight pimped in a dress. With some pumps. You are being royally pimped. Because, and I'm not talking about the street curb hustlers. I'm not talking about you guys. I mean, it's whatever. But the big time drug dealers, you are being pimped. You are being straight set up for a huge downfall. Your family will not get the money that you've accumulated. nor will the community that you've destroyed. It's going straight to the US Treasury. And your ass is going to be in jail for a long time. Slaving in a prison system that is designed to keep you there.